So last year for Christmas, I'm admitting something here, I got an Instant Pot because I wanted one. I had asked for it, and they were having all kinds of deals, and I ended up with one. But the box is still sealed. I never used it. You ask, well, why didn't I use it? Well, sometimes getting out a new device and figuring it out and learning what to do with it for the first time is not fun. And I never made the time to do it. So today I have researched how to cook a Boston butt roast, pork roast in the Instant Pot. And I'm not going to make pulled pork with it. I'm actually going to make a roast. And I've found a great set of instructions online. And Don and I have talked about it a little bit. And I'm ready to go. So I still have my old crock pot sitting on the counter in the kitchen, but not going to do the crock pot. You know, that roast would take like 6 or more hours to cook in the crock pot. Yeah, so when I used to cook the roast like that in the crock pot, it would be sitting on the counter for 5, 6, 7 hours, really slow cooking in the crock pot. And I have a little story to tell you. When I first moved in, and I used to use a crock pot a lot in the winter time for various things. And I remember Don one day, it was a cold day, looking at TED. I think he was looking at TED on his computer, capital T, capital E, capital D. What's it stand for? The
Energy Detective.
Yeah. Well, he was detected all right, because he's like, what is spiking here like there's this line in TED, what is going on? And we finally figured out it was the crock pot cycling on and off, just like your oven does. It gets up to temperature, it turns off the element, then when it detects it's a little low, it turns the element back on. Well, the crock pot was doing the same thing. Right. Now, you determined that didn't really mean we were using a lot of electricity. How much was the crock pot costing us? And this is a 10-year-old crock pot.
Yeah, well, the duty cycle on the heating element, you know, it would be on for 15, 20 seconds maybe, just long enough to register, and it would be off for a couple minutes. So the duty cycle was very short. So over a 5-hour cook time, it would probably use less than a kilowatt of electricity, which even if it was peak, that'd be what, 22, 23 cents. So your average energy used for your crock pot was probably less than a quarter.
Yeah, it was an impressive little graph, but it didn't mean we were using a lot of electricity.
Right. Well, the thing was, is just everything, you know, the normal graph just had these spikes. Like I said, it would turn on, like it would be on for 15 seconds and it'd be off for, I don't remember, 45 seconds. It was a very noticeable, you know, gap. So the duty cycle, it would literally come on and off in an hour, probably well over 100 times. So I mean, it was, you know, sometimes.
Yeah, he was pretty perplexed. I wish I could show you his face while he was being his own energy detective about it.
Right.
But anyway, Don has this kilowatt meter. He says it's not K-I-L-O, it's K-I-L-L.
Yeah, kilowatt.
You can plug any device into it and then plug it into the wall, and it'll let you know how much that device used. So I thought today, when we plug in the Instant Pot, we would plug it into the kilowatt meter, and we would just see how much electricity it costs to cook the roast.
That's right. It tells you the peak, how much energy it's actually drawing, like, you know, 1200 watts or whatever. And then it also accumulates the energy usage over time so that you can figure out how many kilowatts it used for the entire duration of the cooking thing. And then, of course, you can multiply that by your rate. But again, I'm not expecting it to be too much, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, this has a saute setting, so it's going to get it very hot to begin with, so you can brown the meat like you would on a stovetop.
Yeah.
And then it's going to go into the close the lid, seal it all up, sort of pressure cooking. You know, we're going to do 2 different things with it. We're going to start out with the saute, and then we're actually going to do the pressure cook part. So.
Right. Well, in the U.S., we use split phase 120 volt AC, and typically the breaker is 15. Ours happen to be 20. A lot of they use 20 amp breakers, and so 1500 watts is usually the upper end for an appliance. The heating element in an appliance in the U.S., 1500 watts is going to be the upper end of what they're going to, if they want to get a UL rating or something like that, they've got to be no more than 1500 watts. Outside the US, where they have 230, 240 volt, the heating elements are much more powerful. That's why people with tea kettles in the UK, they can heat a kettle of water in 60 seconds, and it takes a minute and a half here in the US or something like that. It's because they can put much
Yeah,
more.
wasn't there a thing recently about Dyson vacuum cleaners, and somebody
Yes.
over in Europe, it's a little maybe more powerful or something, and then you move here and the same vacuum cleaner, it's like, what's going on with what's going on with my vacuum cleaner or something.
Right,
I
yes.
didn't exactly get that, but I think I heard a story.
That has to do with the difference between the 120 and the 230, 240 used outside the US.
Okay, well anyway, we'll collect some data on it. I'll probably video it a little bit, because another one of our passions besides talking about electricity stuff on the side is also, for me, is kind of being a motivator for people to cook real food at home.
Yeah.
Better diet, less processed food. So if I can show how easy it is to cook, I'm probably going to make some sort of an egg casserole, because we're still doing low carb, to go along with it. Either zucchini, corn, egg. He likes it if I cook the zucchini in tiny pieces. Or, I'm going to make a quiche kind of casserole. Something with cheese and broccoli maybe today, to go along with it as our side.
Okie dokie. Sounds good. Yum, yum.
So Don just happens to be looking at our monthly electrical bill from September this morning. We kind of got out of the pattern of every month talking about the electrical bill, but we are still talking about it several times a year when things like the time of use times or the rates change.
Right.
So Don's going to massage the numbers a little bit, and later today I'll record a clip where he talks about the current bill.
Right.
Tux is enjoying the cooler temps. I was out to see him a few minutes ago, so despite what he might try to tell you, he's had lots of attention. He'll always take more, though. I am headed out to do some of my usual Sunday stuff. We did not charge Ruby last night because we did not drive very far yesterday. A little cruise around Fuquay is not enough to cause us to plug in. We often do that on Saturday night. And I would say good morning, Ruby, but it's afternoon. So I'm doing what I always do and opening the garage door. All right, that's like the third or fourth time I've done it, and it actually opened that time. We've been really lucky. HomeLink has never given us any problems with Ruby, or even when we had Sapphire, it like configures the first time, it stays configured, it works great. So I don't know what happened there. Unless it persists, I'm going to chalk that up to, well, I don't know. No big deal. So the one thing Ruby has done since the software update that was a little weird was I got in the car a few times this week and put my foot on the brake pedal, and when the door closed, both the driver screen and the center screen went dark. And stepping on the brake pedal again, tapping the center screen, wasn't getting the screen to come back on, but when I opened the door and reclosed it, then I was good. I find that just to save myself any headaches, it's really a good idea to reboot the center screen one time after the software updates go on. It seems like something always goes on and then I reboot and it's fixed. So if I just reboot to begin with, I'm probably good to go. I don't know. That's just my personal experience. I don't find that to be a big deal in any way. But so anyway, I haven't had that happen since I rebooted, and life seems good. And I've found version 10 to be really pretty trouble-free for us. Very pleased Ruby's accelerating now at stops with traffic aware cruise control more quickly, so that I'm not having to supplement with the my foot on the accelerator to get her back up to speed. It was kind of like she was going around in chill mode when she shouldn't have been in chill, or wasn't in chill. But anyway, so far so good on version 10. If the one little dark screen hiccup is all we had on such a major release, I think that's awesome. And I've kind of made a decision with no real time frame in mind that I am not going to put up any more video on social media about Smart Summon, because it's my opinion that some of the videos were being used against Tesla, and I don't want to be a part of that. And, you know, I would be very upset if my video was used out of context. And I don't know when I'll change my mind about that. And it doesn't mean that I might not be still in what I feel are safe conditions testing the feature, or showing it to people that are interested, or explaining it to people that don't quite understand. But I'm just not going to post any more social media clips of it. I may mention, hey, I just did Smart Summon here and it worked great. But I probably won't. I won't be showing it for a while, because I just don't want to play into the hands of the people that want to see Tesla fail. I just don't want to be a part of that. If I have a problem with it, I'll certainly tell you what that is too, because I'm not trying to hide on the channel anything that happened. You know, you saw the clip in Walmart the other day, if you were watching, where I stopped it and then restarted it, and but that was more on me than the car. But anyway, I'll keep it real, but I'm not going to play into the hands of people that I don't want to play into the hands of. So best as I can tell, Wake Tech has some sort of a new building going in here, or more parking lot, or extra road access. I'll have to ask Dawn to look up exactly what's going on, but this campus is always expanding. So one of the things on my list to do today while I was out was to check out the new Fuquay Library. It's been open since the weekend we did the Blue Ridge Parkway Drive. And this side here is apparently the front of the building. So all the parking is technically on the back side of the building. Dawn and I had driven by here the one time, but we've actually not gone inside. So let's see what it's like. Looks like adequate parking, at least on a Sunday. You know me though, I'm going to park far away. So yeah, they've done a good job here, I think, managing the runoff from the parking lot so that the water gets filtered before it actually goes into the waterway back there. So here's the book return. If you're going to return a book, I don't see a, other than the handicap spots, I don't see a quick parking space for, oh, I just want to return a book. I probably would have designed that a bit different. So it looks like they have a really nice spot for story time at this new library. The sheer number of young adult and juvenile books that they have here is wow. So it is very bright in here, and I did notice lots of, like a bank of, I want to say 20 Lenovo computers. So I just practiced Smart Summon in the library parking lot, and at first she was no-go and just wouldn't move or engage or anything, and it seemed to be because I left the key fob in the car by accident. So I walked back over to the car, grabbed my purse from the exact same location, and then she came right to me just fine. And I saw the waiting for pedestrian pop up on the screen because I was standing pretty close to the car or whatever. And so that seemed like she really was seeing me, even though I was off to the side. So that was a good test. I wanted to test Ruby's light show under V10 and make sure it was working correctly. So far, so good. I'm over here at South Park. Parking lot's basically empty today, although the traffic on the street, not so much. I take it they liked it. Nope, the light show was flawless. See, I totally think this is a responsible place to test the Come to Me Smart Summon. No people around, no other cars around. She never gets above 5 miles per hour. And when she stops, it's like an immediate stop. Thank you, Ruby. Yeah, I may come off of my earlier statement about not demonstrating Smart Summon with a couple of caveats. Number one, I'm going to put a watermark through that part of the video that's a little bit annoying so that it's obvious where it was taken from if it gets stolen. And number two, I think all the times I've tried it that I've made good judgment calls about where to give it a try. And I'm just going to continue to do it in low traffic, low people situations that I feel are totally safe to be trying out this new technology. Time to talk Tux out of moving out of Ruby's way again. Hi. Hello. It's a good thing I look out for you. It is. Hello. Hi. So Don was a real sweetie and he unboxed that thing for me and read the instructions while I was gone.
Yeah, well,
thank you, Donnie.
Yeah, see, there was a page I had like 40
safety warnings.
Yeah, it's like.
Well, the one "don't put your hand over the steam vents" probably was the worst one. Yeah, yeah.
Well, the first thing it says, you know, you can use this thing to catch the condensation. So it slides on there just like that.
Okay.
Because, you know, as it steams, it's going to make a little condensation.
Sure.
That keeps it from dripping all over your countertop, I guess.
Sure.
The other thing is this venting and sealed.
Okay.
This is, it doesn't rotate 360 degrees. It only rotates, what is that?
And is this the hole where the steam would come out? So don't put your hand over that part.
Put your hand over the hand.
Okay.
And don't look.
Right, with your eye. Yeah, I get it.
Don't do it like that.
I think you and I are old enough. We've been burnt by steam a few times.
Right.
Yeah,
No.
Thankfully not badly burnt, but I've certainly
right.
had steam make my hand uncomfortable before.
That's right. And, it says not to move it when it's cooking. And stuff like that. I guess a lot of the stuff was common sense. I was impressed. It seems to be very versatile about what it can do.
Yeah, Don read I can cook asparagus in it.
Well, yeah, it cooks the vegetables really quickly. Things you would steam or something like that. Like you can.
How about baked potato if you wanted one, real quick?
Not baked, but boiled potatoes. Like
sure.
It'd do it in 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes. So where you.
Well, maybe the once a year I make potato salad.
Right.
I might try to cook the potatoes for the potato salad with it.
Well, I think the simple answer is it'll cook all the vegetables that you would normally cook.
And more than Don wants.
Right. More, and certainly, I am not trying to get this thing recommended for its vegetable cooking ability.
Okay.
It didn't say anything about French fries. So.
It's not a oilless fryer,
it
Donnie.
says specifically not to try to use it to, don't put oil in it. I mean, you put oil in it for cooking,
but it's not for frying.
Deep fry, not for frying.
So there's easy instructions on the lid for on and off, but tell me what you were telling me about the pot. If the pot's not in it, it won't operate.
This is the power switch. It's not plugged in right now. This is the power switch. So when the pot is set in it, it closes that switch.
Okay, it's a safety. Like the blender has a safety about the lid being down. Okay. All right, so it says hot. We have it on saute, and there's a tablespoon of oil in there. Yeah, it is. The oil's hot, so we're going to add another tablespoon of olive oil and put in the roast. So it was at like 980 watts while it was getting up to the hot temperature. Yeah. Then it dropped off to what?
It actually went down to like 0.3 watts. There it is. See, 0.7 watts. So the heating element is off right now.
So it's cycling just like the crock pot did.
Yeah, the LED and the electronics is all that is, 0.3 watts. I mean, that's nothing. And so now it's going to
shoot back up here in a minute.
Yeah, the burner's going to kick on and you'll see it jump up real quick here. It's just going to be, it still says hot, and the thing says hot when it's up to temperature. And then when it drops down, it goes to on.
So the whole idea with this saute function is that you don't have to use a Dutch oven to brown the meat before you put it in the quote-unquote crock pot. In a regular crock pot, you would have to brown it first and then transfer it. This way you don't miss any of the drippings and stuff for the gravy, having it in the wrong pot. We pulled the roast out, poured in chicken broth, deglazed the stainless steel by, you know, swishing it around with the plastic spoon. Put the trivet in, which keeps it from sticking to the bottom. Has like a 1 centimeter leg on it. Put the roast back in, and I'm working on the onions. I'm going to put some pearl onions in there around the roast. Silly me was out of Vidalia onions, so we used some pearl whites. They should be nice. Boiled them for 3 minutes, pushed them out of the skin, and they're ready to go. We're supposed to put it on now. Close it. Was that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Dang. Set it to sealing.
That's sealing.
And let me read what else. So we got meat stew and 45 minutes set. It came up to on now, though. We don't see the
Yes,
timer.
because the burner, yeah, well, it said 45, but it took it a few seconds to figure out what it needed to do. And now the heating element is on. It's at
800 and 970.
970 watts.
Okay.
So it's actually on. This is set to
Sealing.
Sealing, yeah. This is venting over here, and it's sealing there.
Okay.
And it's
So 45 minutes. I'm going to make something to go with it. I'm going to make gravy out of the drippings. And we should have a good dinner.
Yeah, so we can go watch football.
That's right. Thanks for your help, Donnie.
You're
such a good helper. You are. You're a good helper. Thank you. So it finished. Yeah, we're going to turn it off. Don's going to lift out the meat. And they swear if I put it on saute, I can make the gravy right in the Instapot. So that's what I'm going to try.
And we're going to turn it to venting.
Yep. Whoa. I can see I'm going to be calling you to do that.
Yeah, well, that kind of caught me a little bit off guard there.
Yeah. Wow. Goodness. This ain't your grandmother's pressure cooker, though. Don says his Aunt Nell used to make butter beans in the real old-fashioned pressure cooker.
That's right.
I agree. The saute brings it to a boil. You can make the gravy in there with the broth, no problem.
You used a 0.46 kilowatts
total
hours of electricity. So you used less than a half a kilowatt to what's that? What you did?
To cook the pork.
You singed it.
Saute. And
that's right. So,
and the cooking.
So
both.
You spent about 4 cents.
And the gravy.
And the gravy. So you spent about 4 cents.
Right, because we're 7 cents approximately a kilowatt hour today. Yep,
that's
on
right.
Sundays. Definitely done and definitely moist inside.
Yeah, I would agree.
Wow, Donnie, check it out.
That's right.
You eat like a king tonight, like a king.
Gonna try.
So we're going to go over our September power bill. Basically, it covers the period from August 23rd through September 23rd. There were 31 days in this billing period, and we used a total of 2,295 kilowatt hours for an average of 74 kilowatt hours per day. Just to let you know, last year from August 24th through September 21st, we used 2,336 kilowatt hours. So last year we used 41 kilowatt hours more. But again, that's very consistent year to year. Now the rate changed in the middle of the month. There was a explanation in the bill about some half a cent difference in some type of energy rider, so that caused the rates to change actually on September 1st. So basically we used 150 kilowatt hours on peak last month. We used 1,999 kilowatt hours off peak and 146 kilowatt hours on shoulder. So the rate was 2 periods, basically from August 23rd through September 1st, and then the rest of the different rate was used between September 1st and September 23rd. But so basically we paid a total of $210.83 for the electricity, and we of course paid our street light, and we pay the fixed monthly charge. The basic customer charge is the same. It's $16.85. Now, starting October 1st, the time of use period has changed. We are now, from now October 1st through March 31st, the off-peak hours are from 1 to 4 p.m. and from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. And of course, it's off-peak all weekends and holidays. But peak is from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Then shoulder is from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and also from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So, but the rate change has actually happened. Our rates were charged two different rates for power during the year. Normally, you would think that when the time of use periods change, the rate would change, but that's not the way we are here in North Carolina, or at least here in Duke. We have a service period, and the service period is from June 1st through September 30th. That's the quote summer rate. And then starting on October 1st all the way through May 31st next year, will be on the non-summer rate. So they're slightly different. They vary about a cent for each of the peak and shoulder rates, but the off-peak rate, which is what we're really more interested, because that's where we use the bulk of our electricity, is the same at 7.46 cents per kilowatt hour. So one of the things we had to do, since the time of use period during the day has changed, is we use Tesla Fi to tell Ruby to stop charging basically at 5:58 a.m. Monday through Friday. If she's still charging, Tesla Fi will send a stop charging command to her, so that she will not won't be charging during the peak rate hours. No use of paying 23 cents a kilowatt hour for electricity to charge her up when we probably won't need that charge that day. But for example, this morning she's going to finish charging, or should finish charging, about 5:38. But normally she finishes a little earlier than that. We did not charge this weekend. We plugged her in and charged her tonight, and she'll finish at 5:58 in the morning, or 5:38. I play with the charge rate often to optimize the charging so it finishes pretty close to the time before we leave.